And welcome back to Voices of Santa Barbara. I am your host, Mark McIntire, and well, today we actually have two voices who actually speak and sing. They sometimes do both at the same time. I'm referring, of course, to the creators of the very new CD. You're going to want to get this one, folks, off of Spotify. It's called Souljourn. Souljourn, and decline that one. What am I doing here? So, Souljourn, and we have the creators of this album, Oscar Maynez and his partner, Trudy Bixby. They're here in the studio with us, and we're going to be actually hearing some of the cuts on the CD. But first of all, let me introduce our guests a little more properly. I've known Trudy Bixby for many years, and through Trudy, I've come to know Oscar for many years. And I must say, their most impressive feature is their soulfulness. So I'm not surprised that their album is called Souljourn, because what they do is they create music for people who appreciate the higher qualities of the human spirit and not just the material aspects of the human spirit. So, Trudy, welcome to the show. Oscar, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you with us. We're actually running a videotape, too. This videotape will be up on YouTube after it's broadcast. In any case, how did the two of you meet? Oscar, Trudy, you've known each other, what, for many years?
Yeah, we were part of a spiritual group for many years, about 10 years, here in the Santa Barbara area. And we were doing soul-level work, as we called it, doing a lot of work with our souls and with altered states, different dimensions of consciousness. And so we met through that. There was a series of teachings, and we did a lot of work, including psychological work and a lot of clearing and cathartic type work.
Trudy, how did you meet?
How did I meet him?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I met him in that spiritual group, and then we both realized that we loved music. And I remember the first song we played together was "The Girl from Ipanema," and we started a friendship and by playing music, and then it blossomed into more of that, and then a relationship became about playing music.
Yeah, and I remember that Girl from Ipanema. I remember that song because you've played it many times at some functions that I have been at. And I think that the most amazing thing about what you do is, on this particular album, Oscar, you wrote all of the music and you wrote all of the words. Is that correct?
Yes, I
So
did.
it must have taken you quite a while to do this.
It took me quite a few years.
Yeah.
The song Souljourn, which the title is, came to me many years ago in that particular spiritual group as I was doing a walking meditation along the beach there in Montecito, and that word came to me, which I thought interesting since sojourn is the correct word, but Souljourn struck me.
No, you're a very, very clever person with words. You like puns, for instance. He's a very punny guy. Trudy is not so much in favor of the puns, and I know Matthew Bixby, her son, is not in favor of the puns. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me when I looked at the title and I see the word soul, Souljourn. I said, that's Oscar. Yeah. So all of these songs, and there are 13 on the album. By the way, it's available on Spotify, correct?
Yeah, it's on Spotify, it's on Amazon, iTunes, all the usual places. CD Baby, if you want to order the CD.
CD Baby, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If you want to order the CD itself.
And people can buy one cut or the whole album, right?
That's correct. These days you sell pieces sometimes.
Right.
So yeah, you can buy each cut or.
Yeah.
The whole
Well,
thing.
I've listened to the album several times in my car, and all the people who have been in my car, because I'm a part-time Uber driver now, I just play it. I just play the album, and I look for the reaction of what they say, and 9 times out of 10 they'll go, "Who's that? Who is that? I don't know those people. What is that music?" So I tell them, and they say, "Oh, well, they're right here in Santa Barbara." I said, "Yeah, they're voices of Santa Barbara," which is why you're on the show today. But anyway, I want to get back to this this spiritual foundation and basis that you both have. It's a very popular notion these days to prefer spirituality to religion, for instance. That's one of the things that I've noticed about modern culture. And I think that the reason that this is happening is because spirituality embraces a lot more than certain religions do. But I want to get your take on that. Why do you see yourselves as more spiritual than religious?
Well, I grew up in a traditional religious Catholic household, and I found that at some point in my evolution that it wasn't really serving my needs, that I needed to expand more, and I found a spiritual connection that started helping me to expand my awareness and my consciousness, and I found that more in line with where I was coming from. Mm-hmm. And so I believe this album came from that spiritual connection, the soul group that I was part of, a lot of the work that we did together, and the work that Trudy and I have done in our relationship over the years has also caused a lot of this album. It's come from that, from all the work.
So this really is a reflection of your life's work as a person.
I would have to say, yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. And Trudy, joy is one of the primary words I use to describe you and you use to describe yourself. Why is that? Joy.
Well, it is my middle name, but joy, I feel so much joy when I sing. And when I sing for a lot of people in these retirement and nursing homes, especially people with Alzheimer's and dementia, and they come alive and they remember a whole song and they laugh and they cry. To me, it's actually a calling. It's beyond just entertainment, and there's nothing wrong with entertainment, but my heart wants to make a difference. So to me, that's the spiritual aspect. It's like I want what touches me to touch you, and that's what we get to do.
You must have accumulated a lot of stories about the venues that you have played, all of the gigs. We're going to get into that in segment 4 of the show. But I just wanted to capture some ideas for our listening audience about why music is such a comfort to people who are suffering and who are in need of joy and in need of a spiritual transcendence. Why is that? Why do you think that's the case?
I think it connects us, or it reminds us of our connection. Mm-hmm. When people hear music, and we notice in the people that we're playing for, the music bypasses, perhaps it's the brain barrier that's having dysfunction, and it gets in there, and the people remember it. They start tapping their foot, they start singing along with us. Yeah. They come out. It's like it brings them back here, back to the present day. Mm-hmm. And so it's miraculous to us to see that taking place on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Trudy, you got anything to add to that about this?
Yes, we do. We have a lot of stories. I've kept a lot of information and pictures and wonderful memories of the stories. But even if people don't have dementia, we do a lot of Gershwin, Cole Porter, and so people of that age in the retirement homes, it brings up memories, good, bad, sad, happy, and they feel a part of their life that maybe they haven't thought about for a very long time. And to me, that's just very beautiful. We also, at their age, some of them are getting close to transitioning. So we look at it as we get to bring them a little bit of peace, some beautiful memories before they're ready to transition on. And thinking about that just makes my heart sing.
Well, as St. Augustine remarked, those who sing pray twice.
Yes.
And I've always, I remember studying that, and I've meditated on that and many, many times, and especially when you hear foreign languages where you don't understand the words. One of the cuts we're going to hear today is Te Quiero. Are we going to play Te Quiero today?
We could.
Yeah, I love it because it has a great beat to it. The album itself, Souljourn, to me is a combination. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you two, but correct me if I'm wrong. It's a combination of Samba, salsa, and what I would like to call light jazz. Am I right about that, or am I wrong about that?
It's jazz-like. I hesitate to call my music jazz because I don't know that I can qualify it as that, but it has some jazzy type changes. So I think light jazz might be appropriate for that.
It's reminiscent of it's reminiscent of Herb Alpert in some way, who the trumpet. I hear echoes of that. I also hear echoes of David Brubeck, believe it or not, in your song, in your work. And we're going to end this first segment with a 1-minute cut, actually, of what song we're going to listen to first of all.
Samba in Summerland.
Oh, Samba in Summerland, and there's a story behind this, isn't there? So what we're going to do is we're going to play Summerland, Samba in Summerland, and after we come back from the break, we'll hear the story about that song. Okay, so.
Riding on the waves of light rhythm, finding all new ways to be. A three-piece band, on and on, summer in Summerland. The music takes me back to where I came. Celebration, family. I can play my hand on and on, summer in Summerland.
And we're back. We're here in studio with the composers and the performers of a new CD called Souljourn, Souljourn. And all of the music and the words are written by Oscar Maynez, and the vocalist, the mellow and dulcet tones of Trudy Bixby. And Trudy is sitting beside me here. I've known both of them for many, many years, and they have been working on getting this album out. It's now out. It's up on Spotify. It's up on, what are some of the
Amazon, CD
Baby. And so you can buy, you can purchase one cut or the whole album. I've got the whole album. In fact, I've got two of them. In any case, we just listened before the break, Samba in Summerland. I think it's a very good way to open the album, by the way. You know why? Because who does not like the samba? Who on this planet could not like a samba? I mean, it's just got a happy, upbeat spirit to it, But there's a story, isn't there?
There's always a story.
Okay, tell us the story. Come on, tell us the story.
We have a friend that lives in Summerland, and Greg, who plays guitar on the CD, was there in a relationship with this woman in Summerland. So we would go to their house and play music, which is what musicians do. We go there and have parties, and people sit around and play music and jam, and it goes around in a circle. It's like everybody takes a solo. So this Samba in Summerland represents the parties, the energy of, there's such an energy of love and family and sharing and kindness when we get into these parties and the music's happening. And so this represents that feeling and the whole thing. But I also found another connection there.
What's that?
And this is more of a metaphysical connection, that the Summerlands represents a dimension of consciousness where people get along. There's a sense of unity and oneness, and people take care of one another, and nobody's lacking. And so I realized that this is kind of a little indicator of that as well.
Now, did you live in Trudy? Did you ever live in Summerland?
I did once many years ago for a very short period of time, but this was mostly about being in Summerland with these friendships, and it was just an organic creation.
So it was more like the metaphor of Summerland. It was the analogy.
Yes.
The metaphysical, as Oscar was saying. Yeah. How long did you have to work to get this album actually produced, and where was it produced? Was it actually recorded here in Santa Barbara?
It was recorded here in Santa Barbara. at Studio Z, I believe it's called, or it was. David West is the engineer, and he moved his studio now. It's not where it used to be, so that place is no longer there. But now he's the engineer, and he's the one that really helped me the most in doing this CD, because we created a relationship. We started working together, and so much of that, as Trudy was saying, it's organic. A lot of this happened in the studio. The creativity happened in the studio. The songs were written, and I had ideas about them. But when I got into the studio and started hands-on, that's when it all came together.
I don't think people realize how tough it is to go into a recording studio. I really don't think they realize. I mean, I listened to this album and I go, oh, this is so professionally done. My God, this is really beautifully done. Because I know it takes a long time to do this. I mean, we're not talking hours. We're talking days and weeks to do this.
In my case, years. In my case, years.
Years. Yeah. Now, I want to get into the writing aspect, and how Trudy helps you, and inspires you, and works with you on the writing aspect of it. Because Trudy is an accomplished writer herself. And she would routinely proofread her son's philosophical papers at Edinburgh University when he was studying philosophy. So she's just not a pretty face. She's also an intellect, and she has a lot of skill in writing. How did you approach the writing aspect for the music? Did you write the music first, or did you write the words first, or did you?
Sometimes it can be either way. Sometimes I'll just be noodling around on the guitar, and
noodling. I like noodling. That's very good. Yeah.
Noodling works.
Yeah, noodling works. Yeah.
And playing around on the guitar, and hear something that you like, and just hold on to it, record it, remember it, and then use it. Perhaps a song will sometimes emerge from that. Other times it could be lyrics that I had that I put music to that I wanted to. So there's different ways. It doesn't come out always the same anytime.
Well, what's the next cut we're going to listen to? Because we're coming up on our break again for the second segment of the show. So we'll play about another minute of what do you want to do? Do you want to do Souljourn?
Yeah, let's do
Souljourn. Yeah. So Richard, our engineer, is going to cue up Souljourn, and whenever he's ready, we'll just let it go.
Blue skies greet me in the morning. Sunrise, daydreams of you. When night falls and I'm sleeping, whispers of love hear me calling you.
And here we are again in the plush studios of Santa Barbara, AM 1290 KZSB, and our engineer, Richard Dugan, is doing an absolutely superb job at playing the cuts to the album that we are listening to. And we have in the studio the author and the performers of the new album Souljourn, Souljourn, and I'm referring, of course, to Trudy Bixby, who does the vocals, and Oscar Maynez, who does the vocals, and he's written the music, and he's written the words. So there are other artists that are noted on there. We're going to talk about some of those and some of the other cuts that we're not going to hear. We're going to hear a couple of more cuts before we leave. But I want to welcome them back. That cut, Trudy, I want to concentrate a little bit on you now about that cut, Souljourn. I've played it many, many, many times, and many people have listened to it. And the collective reaction, mine included, is that it is simultaneously mournful and yet uplifting and transcendental. How do you get that into a voice, or does just that come naturally to you?
I think, well, I did pop out being a frog and a singer. So you kind of ask Oscar how long he's been playing, and I just knew how to sing, and I have a background in my family. But for me, it's so important that I feel the lyrics, that I feel the melody, and this song really is about singing to somebody that has passed over and saying, in the morning I feel you, in the night do you hear my love as I'm hushing these words to you. It's just this beautiful song, and Oscar will share. This is one of the, to me, the most memorable stories of all the songs on the cut. I even was a part of it. I think I gave maybe one line of the lyrics, but this song is just very moving, and it ended up being sung at a memorial service. So it's just very powerful, impactful, the way it came through us, hit us at the time of somebody's passing over. So again, I want Oscar to share the story, but it wasn't difficult to feel it because my heart just felt it.
Oscar, what's your take on that particular song, Souljourn?
At the time that I wrote that some years ago, I was working for Cottage Hospital, helping people. It was called Drug Court, and we were helping people recover from drug and alcohol abuse, and helping change their lives. So we had people going through the program, and if they completed the program, they would their charges would get dropped, and which is no small thing if you're looking at felonies and things like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So this one particular gentleman was, was there, and he had problems, and then he went through our program, and he's doing so well, just a wonderful guy. Mm-hmm. And the weekend that we were working on this song, I just, the song came through. I went back to work on Monday, and he had passed.
Oh.
So we felt his energy was so much a part of this. I felt really connected to him, and I felt like his energy was a part of this. And so it kind of grew out of that. And it was amazing. And then, as Trudy said, we got to perform at his memorial. We played this song, and we just felt it was wonderful. That we felt like it was,
with our
his energy made this happen.
Yeah, with our aging population. I mean, I just turned 75, so I'm part of the aging population. It seems to me that what you're doing is contributing to the whole conversation about end-of-life issues. Because as we get older, young people don't understand this. They think they're going to live forever. They're immortal. They can't never die. They're farthest thing from their world, and they sort of have a poo-poo attitude to geezers and people in my category. But I don't mind that because you know what?
We're pre-geese.
Yeah, life will catch up with those people. Life has an insidious way of catching. It's called age. But anyway,
right.
But I really get this idea that. What you're doing is providing a marvelous artistic experience for people as they age, especially if they're not at home anymore, and they realize that they have to downsizing their entire existence. They've moved from a large house perhaps to a small house, maybe even to a facility. And there's plenty of time to contemplate what your life means and what your life is all ending up to. So I see that particular song, Souljourn, as a testimony, that artistic testimony that you have given to the world to help people to deal with end-of-life issues. In our next what are we going to hear in the next segment? What's the next segment cut from the album?
Did we do We Are One? We already did.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah, we didn't do that.
No, I think that's the next one.
Oh, that's right. We were going to start with We Are One. We're going to do. So you want to do We Are One? You want to do We Are One?
Sure.
Okay, so we can do We Are One whenever you're ready.
Whenever the singing starts.
Now is the time to celebrate. My joy can't be contained. The world I love can rise above my fear and my pain. Today I opened my eyes and saw the sun. Today I opened my heart. We are one. hesitate. Paradise can't wait. Inside of me, I found the key to unlock any door. Today, I opened my eyes and saw the sun. Today, I opened my heart. We are one.
And welcome back again to Voices of Santa Barbara. I'm in studio with two remarkable, artistic, creative voices of Santa Barbara. Both are residents, longtime residents, and embedded into the community. I hate to use that word, embedded, but I won't go there. And I'm referring to Trudy Bixby and and Oscar Maynez. And you've been listening to some of the cuts on their fabulous new album, Souljourn, Souljourn, up on YouTube, Spotify, any of the normal outlets that you ordinarily get your music from. I've been listening to it in the car. It's a perfect car. It's, road rage. with all of the construction going on. Have you guys noticed? I mean, Santa Barbara streets are being
every
lipped up.
street seems like it's
Every
construction.
street's being lipped up. What they're doing to Mission Street is unbelievable. Incredible. So, but I must tell you that since I've been listening to this in the car, your album, I'm a lot more calm. And my riders, because I'm an Uber driver, they're calm too. They like listening to it, and it calms people down. You also have a cat, don't you?
We did have two cats, and one of the cats, Queen of the Night.
I was going to ask you about Queen of the Night because to me it sounded like an Egyptian brothel.
It does. Well,
cats.
cats were there too.
If you could just grab a sample of Queen of the Night, Richie, you'll see what I mean. You can play it under what we're talking about here. He's going to play it under. He's going to play it under. No, really. Well, I was listening. I was driving here today, and I'm going, Queen of the Night. What am I going to say about Queen of the Night? I said, well, let me listen. I said, well, that sounds Egyptian. I said, yeah, but Queen of the Night, like, a brothel? I mean, could that possibly be?
Right.
But you're telling me it's about a cat?
It's about a cat.
Okay, come on, tell me about that. Tell me the story about the cat.
Well, this was our cat. Her name was Lucy. And then she became loosey-goosey because that was a thing we used to use in high school, Keep loose and you're shooting your free throws. Loosey-goosey.
Uh-huh.
All right. And then it became Goosey. Uh-huh. And then Baby Goose. And then Baby Goose. So she all of our animals have multiple names.
I see.
They respond to it.
I see. And none of them have been part of a Egyptian brothel.
Well, I can't speak for that.
She was the huntress.
Okay.
So if you listen to it prowling, if you listen to the words,
she
she
was
was the Queen of the Night because she hunted.
She ruled the night.
Let's listen to a couple more seconds of this, because Rich.
Queen of the night, your eyes split the dark, burn with your own light, never miss your mark, senses on alert.
Well, that certainly did transport me to days gone by, I must tell you. My very brief stint in the Middle East, I can have some happy memories about that. In any case, I'm glad to hear it's about a cat and not the other thing. This segment's about stories and gigs. Some of the other places you played around town, you play in restaurants and you play for private homes.
We're like most musicians. We take whatever gigs we can get.
Yeah, of course.
We played at Fresco here in La Cumbre area, which is right around the corner from where we live. Mm-hmm. We played there for about 3 years. We played at Arnaldi's. Trudy and I did.
Yes.
And we had, like we play most casuals, like most people, weddings, funerals,
fundraisers too. You've done fundraisers.
Fundraisers.
You did one for Matthew.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
It was very successful. People don't realize how much easier it is to write a check when you're listening to good music. It's really amazing. So,
Well, that's good to hear.
whenever I have to write the rent check or the mortgage check, I always
get your checkbooks out.
I always do that. Our engineer wants me to write him a check. Okay. Some of the other stories and some of the other gigs. What's the most unusual gig you've had? What's the most unusual scenario that you've actually had? When you live perform, things go wrong oftentimes.
Oh, well, that's...
Tell me a few of those stories, right? Because that's a very
We just completed. We had a gig in Maynez here about a week ago.
Yeah.
We played with Greg Leroy, who plays on the CD.
And is he the trumpeter?
No, he's a guitar player.
He's the guitar player, okay.
And he's the one that we play with. The three of us are the nucleus.
Okay.
And so we get gigs with him occasionally. So we went. He called us the other day that he had booked a gig, and then they changed it on him and said, "Hey, we need a trio. We want a trio." So he says, "Oh, okay." So he called us up and said, "Hey, I got a gig for us." So
instant trio. Add water and sing.
Right.
And it was a really nice gig. It was in Maynez at a ranch.
Oh, wow.
But the wind was howling.
It does up there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It was howling, and my guitars were getting blown over.
They knocked over.
Twice,
Really?
and I was holding on to them.
No.
Well,
Not
that'll give you an idea of his size, actually.
And so, you have various things, feedback, or chords don't work, or things. There's always something.
Yeah.
And you just get used to, thinking on the run and improvising. Quite literally, you have to sometimes.
I'm sure it has. This is a rhetorical question because I know you're going to be telling us about it. But some of the people that have listened to you then give you testimonials at a later particular point in time. How does that go? How does that happen? People who get inspired by your music and who, this is probably a question more for Trudy than for Oscar. How do people really give you these testimonials? Because I've heard some of them myself.
Well, for me, they usually come even after the programs that we give. And what touches me so much is that people will come up to us and say, "That was a blessing. That was a blessing what you gave me. You reminded me of the time I was dancing with my husband. And you reminded me, perhaps even when somebody passed, but even my sadness was healing." So, it's hard to even describe because it's almost an ephemeral experience. It's just, I feel so touched. I remember one lady coming up and saying, "My husband's had a really tough day, and while you were singing, he was smiling, he was laughing," and she had tears in her eyes. And it goes way beyond the ego. It touches our hearts and our souls. And I find that I often say thank you to the people we sing for very much, and they don't understand. They go, "No, thank you." And I say, "This heals me to do this for you. This is, it literally heals me." My doctor said, "Keep doing this. Whatever you're doing, keep singing, because it's keeping you young and healthy. The pills are just one thing, but this is what works."
Does the doctor send the patient a bill for that advice? I mean, how does that work? I mean, unbelievable. Keep doing this and take 2 aspirins and call me in the morning. Okay?
Right.
And play that third cut on the album Souljourn there. You'll feel a lot better.
Right.
There you go.
But you know what?
Well, we do call it musical medicine.
Yeah,
We do.
I've done a lot of live shows. I did a one-man John Kennedy show for 10 years, mainly to colleges and universities and legitimate theater. And I always was amazed at the difference between doing a TV show or a movie that I've done or doing a live show. The organicity, the immediate feedback that you get from an audience cannot be beat. Mm-hmm. And I suppose that's why all musicians, from rock and heavy metal all the way down to country music or jazz, prefer to actually deal with a live audience and not recording is a very difficult process. Our engineer is smiling over there. Yeah, he knows about the difficulties of recording. But the point I want to get at is that you do both. You're not studio musicians. You are live musicians primarily. I mean, this is your first CD album, correct?
Right. This is the first one. Yes, we like playing live because there's a feedback loop that happens. As you know, anybody that enjoys music, when you go to hear somebody, if you appreciate that music,
Right.
you raise a level that musician can go to a higher level.
Right.
And it's like, so everybody wins. He's get inspired, he plays better, and you hear him playing better than ever, and you're enjoying it. It's just like it's a complete loop of energy.
Right. Now, restaurants, you've played at a few restaurants. I've actually attended one of the ones that you played at. And what's really annoying about live musicians playing at a restaurant is that you hear the tinkle of cups and glasses and silverware, and occasionally a tray will fall and break about 1,000 dishes in the background, and babies are crying, and people are saying, "Oh, waiter, waitress," and they're ordering drinks, and they're yelling and screaming, and they start off listening to you, but as you play, they listen less and less. How do you deal with that?
There's different, it's not like a concert where you're there and everybody's paying a ticket to listen to you.
Right.
Quite often in restaurants, in certain places, all they really want is background music, or as Greg likes to say, musical wallpaper.
Hey, that's a good idea. Next time you do a restaurant, say, "Hey, folks, I know you're here to eat, but if you don't listen to us and be quiet, we're going to actually add a surcharge to your check." Yeah. So if you're quiet, you won't get that.
You know, that's the beauty to the retirement homes, the nursing homes, and playing in the private homes is that then people are listening, and
Yeah.
it is their music, and you don't have the cups rattling.
Well, there's still a few bangs and crashes, but
But it's totally different.
most musicians that play out publicly are used to other
Yeah.
noise.
People talking and coughing and sneezing and, doing drug deals and all kinds of things. Anyway.
And that's just in the
How
band.
much time do we have left? We got 2 more minutes. Oh, you know what? What's the next cut we're going to play here, Oscar? What did you want to play? So that
There's not a moment to lose.
Not a moment to lose. Yeah, we have to do it. There's not a moment to lose. So anytime you're ready, Dr. Dugan, you can just bring that on up.
If I would ever live again, easy to say what I might choose. Love someone, be a friend, there's not a moment to lose. No need to hurry, we've come so far. Forget worry, you're a shining star. Nothing's lost that can't be found. There's not a moment to lose. Almost threw my life away, putting off dreams for a while. Now I see a brighter day, living my life with a smile. If I would ever live again, I'd use music to ease someone's blues.
As always, it's a pleasure to have an attentive audience that are not cleaning dishes and doing other things and interrupting us. Welcome back to Voices of Santa Barbara. I am Mark McIntire here on KZSB AM 1290. This program will be rebroadcast this evening. Then again on Saturday, check your local listings and on the AM 1290 website, and you can see all of that. So now we're in the legacy segment right now, and this segment is, it's the most popular segment because we used to do this on Minds That Matter. Remember when Trudy's been on my Minds That Matter show before. And it's a very simple question. All I do is I open up by saying, now that you've had time to reflect, and you are in the reflecting business, by the way, as spiritual artists, why is the world going to be a different place because you lived in it? Let's start with Oscar.
Well, hopefully this music will touch someone, even if it touches one person. The fact that we put so much into what we love doing, our passion in playing music, and certainly playing for the people, any people we play for. the passion that we put into it and the love that we have for people, I think if there's anything that we would leave, it was that we love people and we enjoy playing music for them, and it's been an honor and a privilege to experience that.
You got to do, Oscar, in your life to maximize your skills, abilities, temperaments, and your interests. Very few people achieve that. Very few people have the opportunity to do this. So, Trudy, why don't you take a stab at that?
Well, I wanted to relate to this song, There's Not a Moment to Lose, and it reflects everything that Oscar has said, but he wrote this song for me. It was like a birthday gift, and I realize it is true. If I would do it again, and I'm doing it now, I would use music to ease someone's blues, to touch someone's heart. But also, the song is about living your dream, and I didn't really start doing this dream until I was about 50, even though I was singing all my life. So I think for me, this song is to inspire others. It's never too late. We all have gifts, and the gifts are to share and to make a difference. And when you do what your gift is, there's a love, there's a joy, there's a passion, and there's an ease. Even if you're working hard, there's an ease there because it's your gift. So that's what this song was really about. Finally living my life as I wanted to, not forgetting my dream. And I hope that inspires others. And I'm 70, and I'm living it, and I plan on living it until I can't. So that's basically what this is about.
Well, both of you certainly have made the impression on everyone who's listened to your music, and now millions of people can listen to it, which is really something. Millions can enjoy what you have achieved in your life, and it should be a lesson to them, is to follow your dreams and follow your passions and develop your skills and your interests and your temperaments. And you don't need billions of dollars to be a happy person, and especially if you're interested in providing an uplifting, transcendent experience for other people. And the last song we're going to listen to is what, Oscar? What is it? We're going to go out on this. So we're going to let this play to the end of the show. What is it, Oscar?
This is called I'll Never Say Goodbye.
Well,
and this is a song that came about, I don't know if it was connected to this, but I had a friend that was going through the death process, and this song came about at that time. And so it's just a song about the continuum as we go on. I don't believe that death is the end. It's perhaps an opening to another life, to a new way of being. And so this is the song was saying we'll meet again because we're eternal beings, I believe.
Well, you know what? We technically speaking, we do have to say goodbye in a couple of minutes here, by the way. But you're also right that we will be back again.
We will be back again, indeed.
You know, it's impossible for all of the atoms that constitute each of us to be destroyed. Newton's first law of dynamics. Okay, so we're going to roll it now. Thank you very much for being on the show, Oscar and Trudy. And now we're going to listen to Never Say Goodbye.
Thank you, Mark.
We always meet again. This love can never die. A friend, always a friend. Our hearts open wide, together with no end in sight. When I look into your eyes, I see heaven sent to me. I'll never say goodbye. There's always more to grow. We're reaching for the sky, letting our love show. I used to question why I cried, something we all know inside. say goodbye.